Everyone's talking about AI overviews, but in just a few weeks, AI mode will be Google's default and AI overviews will become less important. But most SEOs still don't have a plan. This is your complete A to Z guide to stay ahead before it's too late. Let's first address AI SEO for Google's AI mode. Later, we'll get to AI SEO for LLMs like ChatGPT, because Google still gets 81% of all search queries worldwide and ChatGPT less than 2%. Don't make the mistake of thinking that the average user is using LLMs every day like you do. They don't. Google is still the most used search engine worldwide. Therefore, to get ahead of 99% of websites with AI SEO, you first need to know that Google has built in a strong filter for its AI mode, which is their attempt to show only high-quality websites in results. Google's biggest problem over the last 15 years has been spam. Now they think they finally found an effective way to keep spam out of AI mode results. Once a website becomes an important player, they start to work on building brand awareness. And to be able to build brand awareness, you need a brand first. So being a brand in the eyes of Google is the magic entry card to be shown in AI mode results. Spam websites don't have a brand and therefore aren't eligible for AI mode. Being a brand will finally pay off big time. Stay with me and I'll show you what you must do to become a brand and strengthen it to rank better in Google's AI mode. Please remember, it is not enough to treat AI SEO as just another digital marketing channel and wait until your competition takes it seriously, then try to catch up by investing a little bit more than you planned. The harsh truth is, if your website isn't a recognizable brand in Google's eyes today, you might have lost the game already. Only if you don't take immediate action. You have approximately 2 months to make the big shift and get into AI mode, or you'll need to wait for a new version of AI mode, which can take months to be trained and published. But before we dig into the implementation details, let's take a brief look at what happened until today, why there is no doubt that Google's AI mode will very soon become the default mode in Google, and why you should care a lot about that fact. In November 2022, ChatGPT was launched and got so many users on board that Google started to panic. So in March 2023, they announced Gemini. And in May 2023, they introduced the Search Generative Experience, short SGE, as a beta in the USA. But that didn't move the needle for Google. ChatGPT kept growing at insane rates. Google felt huge pressure to release some kind of AI inside the traditional result pages. So 1 year later, in May 2024, Google launched AI overviews to all US users. The reactions were mostly positive, so Google rolled out AI overviews to 7 additional countries: the UK, India, Indonesia, Japan, Mexico, Brazil, and South Africa in August 2024, and in October 2024 to additional 120 countries. In the following 6 months, AI overviews were placed for almost every informational query. What followed was a hurricane of criticism. Screenshots of funny AI overview answers flooded the internet. Publishers were suing Google, and many information-heavy websites saw, on average, a 30% drop in organic traffic. Some of them went even bankrupt. A Google spokesperson said publicly that Google lost structured data, so SEOs went crazy and played schema snippets for everything, everywhere, in the hope that this would help them rank better in AI overviews. But it didn't. Google took all that new data to train their AI. And later, the same spokesperson said that structured data is not so important anymore. In other words, we made the job for Google easy. We delivered them our data on a silver plate so they could train their AI on it. But we didn't get anything as a reward. Nobody knew back then that they wouldn't use the data to train Gemini, but to train their AI mode. So in March 2025, they introduced AI mode as a beta in the USA. From that point, things moved quickly because US users of the beta version were overall very happy with AI mode and started asking how they could make it their default mode. So in May 2025, Google added an AI mode tab for US users. Not just any tab like images or news, which were shown to the right of the main tab. No, the AI mode tab was placed as the first tab but wasn't set as the default mode yet. In July 2025, AI mode became a tab for all UK users who were less happy with AI mode than US users, but still most users were satisfied with it. Therefore, in August 2025, AI mode was made available for 180 plus countries through google.com/AI. But EU countries were skipped because of some GDPR concerns. Google kept A/B testing and iterating, and as a result, in September 2025, the integration of AI mode into the Google's Chrome browser's Omnibox, the address bar, for US users was announced. But still, the main tab in Google was the traditional search results. After a lot of discussions, in October 2025, AI mode was available as a tab for EU countries too, including Switzerland. If Google continues at this pace, you don't need to be a fortune teller to see where this is heading. So as of today, these are the most important stats. Google has a global search market share of 81% and Gemini has 400 million users. Although ChatGPT has a global search market share of 2% or less and more than 800 million users, the Google's ecosystem gets 300,000 times more search queries than ChatGPT daily. But Google is losing bits of its search market share every month, mainly to ChatGPT. Besides that, an early data analytics report suggests that the conversion rate and the conversion value of ChatGPT visitors is 5 times bigger than from Google visitors. ChatGPT warms users up during conversations with them, so when a recommendation for purchase is given, it has a lot of weight. The only lucky circumstance for Google is that most websites didn't set up LLM tracking in their analytics tools, and that most tracking methods are not precise enough. Owing Google Analytics and avoiding creating a built-in AI traffic report helps, of course. Google announced in June 2025 that they will publish a filter for AI mode queries in the Google Search Console. But knowing how long it takes until such promises are really published, this could take a while. The pressure on Google is still present. They need to move forward and they need to do it fast. Currently, the only thing that holds them back from making AI mode the default mode is the missing integration of Google Ads, which is their main income stream. Many A/B tests have been spotted. Some patents regarding displaying ads in AI mode have been granted. Others are still pending. For example, contextual ad triggering, sponsored conversational units, dynamic ad insertion in generated text, and new bidding and attribution models. But from what I've seen, it is just a matter of days until they roll that integration out. 3 methods of displaying ads are already established and tested. They are just waiting to gather enough data to reach statistical significance. So, in my opinion, we can expect the following developments in the future. Google's AI mode will become the default mode in the USA by the end of 2025. They love to publish big changes at Christmas, so be aware that this year's presents could really surprise you. Aligned with the pace of changes we've seen until now, we should see Google's AI mode becoming the default mode in the usual 7 countries in the spring of 2026 and 400 plus countries in the summer of 2026, followed by an additional 80 plus countries in autumn 2026. By the end of 2026, users worldwide will get used to AI mode and accept it. And ChatGPT will finally make voice search popular and get a much bigger chunk of the global search market share. A big part in this will also play the recently released OpenAI browser called Atlas. Don't forget, Microsoft is funding OpenAI, and being a part of it is their only chance to get more traction and stay a big player in the search engine game. Now you hopefully see why you should take the AI mode seriously and why it needs urgently your attention. To understand how to rank in AI mode, it's essential to understand the difference between ranking factors for AI overviews and AI mode. So let's take a quick look at them. They have one thing in common. They don't correlate with old organic Google rankings. If you rank for a certain search query in the traditional Google SERPs, you have no guarantee that you will rank in AI overviews and especially in AI mode. AI overviews are an addition to the traditional SERP, a summary box at the top. AI mode is a replacement for the traditional SERP, a full-page conversational interface. AI overviews are more often consistent and cached. They rely more on the core Google algorithm and its ranking factors. It is more cost-effective and therefore is already shown for at least 30% of queries, but most of them being informational queries. AI overviews have a low influence on e-commerce decisions. AI mode also caches results for very frequent search queries, but those are most often just conversational starters. And the conversational fluidity is powered by an LLM and is less impacted by the core algorithm. It influences e-commerce decisions even more than ChatGPT because Google has live pricing data from Google shopping feeds. AI overviews rely on structured data and EET, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, and give short answers. They prefer to recommend content written in a formal tone, usually showing 3 to 5 links to sources. AI mode, on the other hand, relies on brand authority and its entity. AI mode gives comprehensive answers and prefers to recommend content written in a casual tone, often tied to personal experience, usually showing 5 to 7 links to sources. The AI mode shows more links, displays them more prominently, and therefore those links get more clicks. Finally, some good news for SEOs and websites. In AI mode, you can often see free Google shopping boxes with live prices for product recommendations. They get the most clicks, and it's why they probably will be the first place where Google Ads will be shown. Buying your way into Google AI overviews through Google Ads probably won't ever happen, because AI overviews will become history once AI mode becomes the default mode. So, my recommendation is to concentrate your time and efforts solely on understanding how ranking in AI mode works and to move quickly. Because if your website isn't considered a brand by the time the new training data for AI mode is assembled, you will need to wait a few months at least to get the chance that your website is considered good enough data to be a part of the new training data. So what can you do today to rank in AI mode? A. You need to play your A game in the next 2 months. Leave everything else and concentrate on being mentioned in AI mode. If you are never mentioned and don't get any traffic from AI mode, you are in big trouble and need to act fast. B. Become a brand in Google's eyes. If you roll your eyes every time you hear that, that is completely fine, because most SEOs overuse this phrase and can't elaborate on the details, but I can show you exactly how to do that. In the description of this video, you will find a link to a workshop I recorded today, which will teach you step by step how to become a brand in Google's eyes and how to strengthen it once you have achieved that. But I will reveal to you right now the main precondition: your brand name must be unique worldwide. And that's a tough one, especially if your domain name is a keyword domain. Here's an example. If you're selling tires and your online store is located on the domain tireshop.com, you don't have a brand. A domain name like tirestore24.com is a bit better if nobody else is calling themselves Tirestore24 worldwide, but the chances for that are very low. A perfect brand name would be a unique brand name like wheelie.com, under the presumption that nobody else in the world is calling themselves that. Why is that so important? Google doesn't count just backlinks, they count mentions too. We call them citations. So if someone on the internet mentions your brand without linking to your website, it should be clear who they meant. The only way to make sure that you will stay the only one with that brand name is to register as a worldwide trademark. In the workshop, I walk you step by step through how to check if the brand is used by anyone and how to register trademark if it's unused. That doesn't mean that all keyword domains are doomed and that they aren't shown in AI mode. There are some exceptions. Some domains are already so strong that their domain name is their brand name. But still, even the strongest keyword domains should consider moving to a branded domain, because in that way, brand signals will be much stronger. The best case, of course, is that your company name is your brand name on which you have a worldwide trademark. And if you have published any scientific papers or books under your company name, that Google can connect them to your domain name. More about this important topic and the ultimate way to be shown more often in relevant queries in Google's AI mode and LLMs like ChatGPT by strengthening your brand, you can learn in the workshop. The link is in the description. C. Co-branding is the magic word for all those websites that aren't appearing in Google's AI mode and LLMs at all. If your entity is not clear to Google, they will skip you. So co-branding is the second most important thing after branding. You should appear everywhere with the big names from your entity. If you are not appearing in AI mode or LLMs, either you are not a unique brand or you missed out on the co-branding game. For both, the solution is simple: publishing native PR articles with listicles, but not the way you think. A special ingredient is often left out. In the key step to ranking Google's AI mode workshop, I'm showing a checklist I use to create native PR articles for the purpose of co-branding. Just copy it and thank me later. D. Base your decisions on data. AI mode queries are shown in Google Search Console. Filter them out and compare the conversion rate and conversion value of them to traditional queries. I added a link to an article with instructions on how to do that in the description. E. Show your expertise and experience in written content. Let Google know who wrote that content, and if you review anything, make sure to leave no doubt that you were in touch with the product or service. Prove that the insights you give are first-hand experiences and not a product of your imagination or reading technical specifications. F. Fear not to reveal too much. Be transparent, especially when it comes to what features or services you are offering and how they are priced. Don't hide the details to reveal them in a demo or sales call. Communicate it all transparently. G. Create great content, not just useful content. How do you know that a piece of content is great? If it is so good that users say they would pay for it and that you are crazy for giving it away for free. H. Be honest. Being honest often means also being brief. Don't beat around the bush. Give straightforward value, no matter if it is a general question, a pre-sales question, or an answer to an FAQ. Be brief and honest. Remember, honesty is the best policy. I. Create interactive content. Instead of just publishing words and images, create small, helpful apps that users will send to others, bookmark and link to. This is easy today with the help of AI. Even if it's a simple calculator on the topic you are writing about, add a small but very useful app to it. But be aware, it can't be any app. It really needs to be a helpful app. J. JavaScript frameworks are not readable by ChatGPT bots right now. Try to deliver a pre-rendered version for every URL if JavaScript is turned off. K. Don't think in keywords. Thinking queries, users would ask LLMs to get an answer. Place those questions in your content and give brief answers to them. Write the answers in third person. L. Link juice still matters a lot, and you need to control it starting from your homepage. Try to reduce the number of internal links from the homepage and remove far-fetched topics or niches from your website that don't logically fit your entity. M. Use the Google Merchant Center and feed it with your product feeds. They are already being shown in AI mode for free and will become more important every day. Refresh your price and stock data as often as you can afford it. Twice a day is the bare minimum. And natural language optimization is important. Stop being formal and using foreign or Latin terms to sound smart. Use the language your users are using with LLMs. Oh, on-page factors are still crucial, and you should focus on clarity, readability, and page speed. By clarity, I mean that your title text and H1s define what each URL is about, whereas readability is interpreted as uninterrupted content consumption with no fluff. P. Patents are another strong brand indicator. If you have any patents granted, let the crawler know by mentioning them on your legal pages or relevant articles on your website. The same applies to trademarks. Make it easier for the crawlers to connect the knowledge graph points by mentioning the patent or trademark registration numbers. Don't just rely on their access to those databases. Your About Us page is also a good place to mention or link those. Q. Fan-out queries is a term for all those queries that LLMs initiate when they are researching an answer. Those are not real visitors, they are bots, but they can sometimes show up as real visitors in your stats. You can recognize them by a short dwell time and a huge bounce rate, but you don't need to do anything about that right now, besides memorizing the term fan-out queries. R. Don't block LLM crawlers in robots.txt if you want to rank in LLMs. If you have an llms.txt file, you can delete it. It doesn't help with anything and crawlers ignore it. If you don't have any rankings in LLMs, the robots.txt might be one of the reasons. S. Having schema markups helps crawlers collect your data, but it is also the quickest way to be mentioned as a source by LLMs if you provide unique data points. Right now, I still suggest using all possible markups to get into LLMs. Later, you can restrict the data you provide when we have more knowledge about how to control that without building and selling an API to LLMs. T. In order to measure your success or failure, you need to track your performance. There are many tools out there doing the same but promising to be different. Sadly, there is no single tool that has done it all perfectly, especially in the affordable pricing segment. I suppose you either use SEMrush or Ahrefs already. Both have launched AI brand tracking tools. In my opinion, SEMrush is doing a better job with its AI SEO toolkit. If you want to try it out, use the link in the description to start a 14-day trial and check if your brand is being mentioned in LLMs, and if yes, where and how often. In Google Analytics, you should create an AI report to see at least where the LLM traffic is coming from and how it performs on your website by following these 3 simple steps. Go to Reports, Acquisition, Traffic Acquisition. Add Comparison, Referral, Filter, Session Source Medium, and then Match Type Regex, and paste this info into that field. Change the view to Session Source Medium, voila! If the report is empty and you haven't blocked LLM crawlers in robots.txt, then hurry up to become a visible brand. The easiest and fastest way to do so is to watch the key step to rank in Google's AI mode workshop and execute the checklist. Don't snooze this topic. You could regret it in 3 months or less. Unite with the in-house brand and PR teams. You need to work closely together in order to achieve any improvements regarding rankings in Google's AI mode and other LLMs. You will need much bigger budgets for strengthening your brand through native PR campaigns than you can imagine, but you will also need to follow your brand guidelines if you want to do it right. You can also use already planned PR campaigns by those other teams to make SEO relevant changes. That's why I suggest my clients to consolidate the SEO, PR, and brand teams, and if possible, even their budgets. You need to work closer with them, or your chances to stay in the SEO game are much lower. Videos are still underestimated. YouTube is still underestimated. YouTube is the second biggest search engine. It belongs to Google, and real brands don't ignore YouTube, so neither should you. YouTube is as close to an evergreen marketing channel as a marketing channel can get. Content is not recycled like on social media platforms and can drive permanent traffic if done well. It also sends direct signals about your brand, entity, and the people involved in building that brand. Don't skip it, please. XML and TXT sitemaps are the first thing crawlers open and try to crawl. If sitemaps contain only valuable URLs and are structured well, all crawlers will love them, but if they are full of meaningless URLs, like pagination pages or URLs you have set to no index, crawlers will skip them. I recently made a video about them. You can find it on our channel. Why? It is important to find out why your website is not appearing in relevant queries in Google's AI mode and other LLMs. As I already mentioned, in most cases it is because of a non-existing or weak unique brand. But sometimes it can be as simple as blocking LLM crawlers in your robot's TXT file. It is even more important to ask yourself why. If you are appearing in relevant queries, analyze which URLs are appearing in relevant queries, for what kind of queries, quantify how much they are worth to you and how much revenue you have made through them. Do more of what works for you and try to position your website for what you consider even more important queries. Make sure your assumptions are based on data, because the bottom of the funnel is being redefined right now, and your SEO skill may hinder you from trusting the super long tail. Zero-click queries are on the rise since the introduction of AI overviews. Your data may be used to compile an answer for users, and often the user doesn't even check the sources. But what users notice is if your brand appears many times as a source for the questions they ask. If that is the case, it is just a matter of time before they explore your website and your brand and bookmark it for visits in the future. You might feel overwhelmed with the AI SEO topic, and that is completely normal. Some SEOs are even anxious, others are terrified. But as always in life, if things look overwhelming, write all obstacles down, prioritize them, cut the one with the biggest priority into small chunks, and start working on the solution. So if your website isn't showing up in Google's AI mode or LLMs, and you don't get any visitors from there, start with creating a unique brand and then building its awareness. If you aren't sure how to do it, I have prepared the key step to rank in Google's AI mode workshop that includes a to-do checklist you can follow step by step to save your website from an upcoming catastrophe. You can find the link to the workshop in the description. Have a nice day, and remember, never give up. See you next time. Bye.